How good is the all-new BMW 5 Series and how does it rate against the main competitors, Mercedes E-Class or the electric one, the Mercedes EQE? All the 5 Series version, no matter if electric or petrol or diesel or plug-in hybrid, will more or less look the same. They're building on the very same platform. And here on our channel, we'll keep you updated with all the different versions. This one here is the i5 M60. So this is the M Performance model, and also with the M Sport Package Pro. That means the black frame around the double kidney. And also here the M logo. Lower part also, when you have the normal M Sport Package, looks sportier here. And mineral white is this exterior color. And this is here the i5 M60 in fire red, so different color. Of course, you can also get all the colors for all the different powertrains. And this is also equipped with some more carbon fiber details, for example, at the side mirror. Or also in the rear, you can see this small spoiler in carbon fiber. And one more color for you is Brooklyn Gray, also one of my favorite colors. And here we can also see the direct comparison of the outer frame in black, and also here the inside part looks a little bit different. And here, this one here is the eDrive 40, so that means the rear-wheel drive standard or base electric version, base i5. And then this one only has the M Sport Pack. That means we have the sportier lower accentuations, but the outer kidney frame is still then bright. I think that really looks better. And also the inside of the double kidney, I think just looks more classic BMW here with the vertical fins. The length is now at 5 meters 6 or 199 inches. That's 10 centimeters or 4 inches longer than the predecessor. Wheels from 18 inch to maximum 21. These are the biggest 21-inch wheels in this M design. Really impressive indeed. And you can also get these black contrasts here, the side mirrors, also in the lower part. You can see it has a very high contrast, especially to the mineral white color. In general, if you compare the BMW to the Mercedes, whereas Mercedes, both with the E-Class and also especially with the EQE, the EV version, goes more in the round direction. This one here more has this classic German angular styling. Very nice indentation here of the 5 logo, by the way. What do you think about the design, and also especially if you compare it to the competitors? Typical 3-box sedan styling I liked, and also the angular shapes, really widely drawn tail lamps. And as for technology, let's start with the suspension. You have base suspension. You can go for an M Sport suspension, a fixed one. Also comes with the M Sport Pack. You can also optionally go for the Adaptive Suspension Professional. That one always comes in a package with adaptive dampers and also rear exit steering. Goes 2.5 degrees in the opposite direction than the front wheels, reduces the turning circle. And for the M60 here, you can get the Adaptive M Suspension Professional. That one also adds an anti-tilt control that it stays more upright. And to be even more specific, the i5, so all the electric versions and the plug-in hybrids, because of more weight on the rear axle, always also get air suspension at the rear axle. This is the BMW app, and here we can show you that remote parking is possible, tap and hold. So for example, when it would be in a narrow parking lot or something, I can just control the car by my phone. So no one is driving here, I'm not faking it. So here I can press backward, there we go, there. And then I can ease the car out. So let's think about, you have maybe like an old parking garage that is really narrow, where you can hardly open the doors because it was built for more narrow cars. That's the easy way. And then you can also take your car for a walk. Oh, good boy, good boy. Yeah, he was early in dog school, and really learned to drive by my side. I love that feature. To open and close the vehicle, use the smartphone app, or you can also use the classic key fob. I'm glad it's still the choice. Then here on the left side, this is from metal here in the M Sport or in the M60, so it's actually heavier. Interesting, actually. Flush door handles here, but they still give a haptic feedback when you open them like this. So at the moment the car is closed, there we go, there it's open. You just need to hold the smartphone in your hand. It's also possible. Door closing sound. Yeah, I love that. Let's do it again. Beautiful, very solid door closing sound. Inside of the doors, soft touch material, all structured. Then it's even softer here a little bit for the elbows. And the window levers, they are mainly just black plastic, just have this, this contrast on the top part, and you can see here this interior bar already begins right here, and there you can set the memory seating and so on, optional Bowers & Wilkins sound system. This one here is also the M Sport interior, which is also standard for the M60. Then you have the M steering wheel with the contrast stitches on the inside, sportier form. However, this one then is still animal material. The base steering wheel would also be vegan. That's also a step forward now. Then the seats, either you get sport seats as standard, I'm soon going to show you them, or these here are the optional comfort seats. They are a little bit more open in the upper area and also a little bit more comfy in the lower area. What I love, by the way, here, look at that. This is the lengthenment for the lower seating area. I pulled it all the way out and there is no gap left. So when you pull it out, there's no gap left where you can, have like crumbles inside or whatever. So it's easy to clean and looks also clean. This is also the Veganza material, so it's completely animal-free, super soft and also as durable or even a little bit more durable than the animal skin alternative. And the seating comfort is indeed superb. So one of the best at the moment in the sedan segment. Same material is used in the 7 Series, by the way. The only difference is that the 7 Series might have a little bit higher Einsitzhöhe, listen and repeat, Einsitzhöhe, so a little bit more dampening underneath. The main thing is that both are available also here, perforation and also with the ventilation. That's, I think, pretty cool. The sport seat have a little bit more side support if you drive sportier. These here, however, the comfort seats will deliver more comfort. So overall, I think I would go for these here. As for headroom with 189 or 6'2", still have headroom left here. This then the one with the glass roof and I have to push it forward actually because it rolls in the front, so you have more headroom in the rear. So this one here fixed glass roof, but with a shade when it gets really hot. I think it's very important. As an alternative, I heard that the US market still gets a small roof that you can actually also open. It won't be all the way then, but at least you can still open it. But there are always pros and cons about all different kinds of fixed roof, fixed glass roof, and also the openable glass roof. This could actually fill an hour itself talking about the pros and cons there. And these here are the sport seats as they would be standard for the M Sport Pack or for the M60. Here you can see the Veganza on the interior, sport seat form, perforation, and on the sides here in the top part, there you have Alcantara inserts. And they are also perforated, and the M colors here, red, blue and the bright blue, they shine basically from the background. And the same also counts for the head restraint, Alcantara covering, perforated and also with this shiny background. Interior cockpit overview, you have this curved screen, but then 12.3 on the left, 14.9 inch on the right side. You have also, you can get this one here, this light bar, this ambient light bar, and it also switches according to the driving modes. For example, if you go to the sport mode, then here it turns red. The only thing I don't really understand, and it's better in the 7 Series, for example, here, this split. I think a light bar would need to go through on the very same horizontal level. Here it's kind of like here, and oh, where is it? Ah, there it continues. You know what I mean? Here you can also get a carbon fiber decal element, but also different decal elements are available. Soft touch on the top dashboard, and so much different, for example, to a Mercedes E-Class interior or a Mercedes EQE. So the layout is really very different. Steering wheel still with some physical buttons. It's a mix, so to speak. Right side here for the volume. BMW OS 8.5. Here, different home screen as well. And then you also have this app view where you can access everything. Yeah, it's really a lot. Then the Apple CarPlay integration looks like this. Wireless, both also for Android Auto. And you can also have the maps here in the left instrument screen. Here, the climate unit is always in the lower part, and it's actually pretty cool here, the cool seats for the Veganza perforated material. However, to access them actually, it's more complicated than with physical controls. Digital instruments, when I start up the vehicle, you have the startup sound, and then simple and clean, left side speed, right side then the power, or then here for the electric version you can see also the recharging. And you can also change the whole content you want to see in the middle part. That's possible. Also then, like Apple Maps and so on. This is the car internal map. And you can also get a proper head-up display. In the front you have inductive charging pad, here also with some cooling holes. However, the disadvantage is it looks like two, but just the left side is for the recharging. The right side is just for storage basically. Then adaptive cup holders, 2 USB-C chargers, and we have still this control lever here. There you can also control the infotainment system while driving, and it also has a nice sound and still a normal volume jog right here. I like that. Here, this is where you control the driving modes. This is to me a little bit too complicated to do that while driving, because you have to click here and then in touchscreen, or then use this one. So a separate control for that would be better, I feel. And you have this split opening. I always like that for the storage right there. And listen to that, also with a nice closing sound. And here now, this is also the animal-free steering wheel. It has different styling. We know it from the BMW iX, because the iX had this form, and now will also get as an update also the animal-free material. It feels a little bit different, but very similar. You wouldn't know it actually if you didn't, if no one told you before. I feel it feels even a little bit softer. And as I said earlier, it is tested on at least the same durability actually. So it looks a little bit more futuristic, I feel. The other one, the M Sport, looks a little bit more sporty, definitely, but both have something, definitely. But this one, of course, then more animal friendly. Here, by the way, also different deco element. This is like a dark wood with, this shiny cover. Also not too bad. I usually prefer like matte open cell thing, but yeah, definitely more deco elements are available, of course. And here you can also see how this different steering wheel looks in the whole cockpit setting. Rear seating area, it does fit 4 tall Ls also in the rear, but it is a pain of this segment that also counts for the competitors, that considering the exterior length, you don't have so much space for your legs in the rear. Again, considering the package. However, it would fit even better when I put the front seat a little bit higher. Then the recess here at the back part of the seat would fit better, would fit better for the knees and also for my feet underneath the seat. What I found quite cool is that here we just have a USB-C charger and an iPad holder. It's actually a very easy and simple solution. The seating comfort itself is really good because of the soft material. This Veganza material is actually softer than the animal skin counterpart, and it is actually also in the passive way more breathable. I had recently a direct test, so they don't get too hot that easily. Then in the front you also have the ventilation. Here in the middle part, cup holders, they are adaptive, so I'm also happy here with the build quality and so on. You can also fold down this ski hatch right here. Oh, there's my lunch bag. See you later, lunch bag. And then in the lower part we have a climate unit that is all digital. It looks clean, however. Yeah, I mean, I do prefer always manual climate knobs, you know that. But I think it's reasonably simple. You can also get rear seat heating, as you can see, and 2 more USB-C chargers. And just as a proof, so because they pull in this shade for the glass roof in the front, I still have headroom here also in the rear for tall passengers. And not to forget, also soft touch here for the rear doors on the inside. As for the trunk, wait a minute, what does as have to do with the trunk? As for the trunk or the boot, let's open it. We have 490 liters for the i5 or 520 liters for the combustion engine models. And you can see here, it's a little bit less than 1 meter or 40 inches in width. And the length is actually more than 40 inches or a meter. It's like 112 or 44 inches. So the difference is also the lower part. If you have a combustion engine model, then this one here is a little bit lower, but there's no space underneath. If you have a plug-in or i5, then you have some space underneath, but it's a little bit higher overall. And you can also fold the seats, unlock them right here and here, but then you either have to push it with the luggage, that's possible, or have to go around, then you can also load through. Does it frunk or not here in the electric versions? Let's lift it. No, it does not, but wow, largest engine cover ever. Here also with some M carbon fiber styling. At least it looks good, but some frunk would have been cool, wouldn't it? Then let's talk about the different engine specs. Overall, the acceleration figure for the new 5 Series ranges from 7.5 seconds, slowest, to 3.8 seconds. That is this one here, the i5 M60. Maybe later there will also be something else, like a true M version. We'll keep you updated with that. And there will also be a touring version if the sedan is not enough for you. Overall, there are pure petrol, pure diesel, plug-in hybrid petrol, and the all-electric versions, the full engine lineup. is really very wide. We have it in the pinned comment and also in the video description for you that you can check it out. Electric specific, you get a battery of 81 kilowatt hours net. What concise range we can score with that, we're going to find out today in our driving test later on. As for recharging, less than 30 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. Difference in the two versions so far, as a rear-wheel drive version only, that one then around 6 seconds in the acceleration figure, or this one here, the all-wheel drive electric version, the M60 with 3.8 seconds in the acceleration figure, then one electric motor per axle, but the rear one will always be the stronger one. And there will also be an all-wheel drive electric version coming up, which is not the M version, so something in between. i5 M60 all-wheel drive, 3.8 seconds in the acceleration figure officially. And what can we score? We go here to the sport mode. You can see here already the red accentuations. We use this empty parking lot. Let's go. Plop. Oh, that was 90. Whoo! Whew, and you also heard the iconic sounds. So that is then that you have this sound feedback as well, because there's obviously no sound feedback from the engine there. Wait a minute. If you ask yourself now, is that possible even quicker? Yes, it is. If I hold the boost pedal while rolling already, that is possible. Or if I do now standstill and launch control, left pedal here with my left foot, right pedal with my right foot. With the launch control and the boost function, you can get a little bit more torque even out of this vehicle. Let's try and see the difference. Michelle? Oh, Michelle bailed now. Obviously, that was too much for him. No, to be honest, he's filming it from the outside for a reel. Anyway, let's go. Plop. Oh, that was more than 100 already. Whew! Wow, I mean, super quick in both cases, definitely. Here, just a little notch. An interesting thing is, you don't get more horsepower, but just a little bit more torque out of the boost function, or then here the launch control, here boost function. Then for 10 seconds, I have this extra boost always available. Yeah, again, launch control only when stationary, boost then also while rolling already. Whew. Wow. Was there any difference? We have to check the time codes, but it also might vary then depending on where you are exactly. And then we continue driving uphill here. Wow, that's really a lot of artificial sound. However, you can also turn that off. I can also show that to you very soon, no problem. Here, one more time, uphill. It doesn't even feel like going uphill because you have so much power here. Wow, amazing. Then hammering the turning indicator, that's always a lot of fun. Let's just do it one more time. Ah, that sounds beautiful. And you can also accelerate out of the corner here very well. Look at how calm the steering remains. So you accelerate very hard, but you remain in control all the time. That's really cool. Then the steering feel, let's see, here in the sport mode. Reactions also from the low degree angle actually, and also how it gets to the outside. Yeah, it feels actually quite cool. Let's see the difference in the driving modes. Yeah, switching the driving modes is actually not that easy to do, I feel. Always have to go this and then that one. So here, normal personal driving mode. Yeah, it's a little bit softer then. Let's go back. My mode's in sport again. Yeah, then I have a little bit more feedback then. So overall, quite happy with that.
Did you also feel the side bolsters?
Side bolsters, with the
sports mode.
So yeah, good remark from Michelle. Yeah, and sport in the personal mode gets a little bit wider, and then in the sport mode, yeah, they close a little bit in. That's actually a nice feature. That's pretty cool actually. Nice. So slalom-wise, stays really upright. Here we have the adaptive M suspension. That means dampers are adaptive, and there's also the anti-tilt control in the rear. And since this is the i5, we also have the rear axle air suspension. So yeah, suspension-wise is not a very easy logic here. There are so many different choices, so that's why I also went in depth to explain all of that. Great, now we've found a destroyed road that is about to be redone. Therefore, it's really bumpy and so on. But remember, 21-inch wheels, and usually these large wheels mean no comfort at all, you know. So I always say like go for smaller wheels, but here, although it's a destroyed road, it feels like nothing. So I'm really impressed by this suspension. I mean, it's not a full air suspension, even here in the electric one or the plug-in hybrid and so on. It is just the rear axle air suspension, but you don't feel that. It is still a very comfortable ride. So the adaptive dampers here by BMW have always been very good. They have been so good that usually you do not miss an air suspension. So even if you would have a combustion engine version where you have no rear axle air suspension and so on, they would do absolutely fine. Of course, base suspension would also be interesting in the test later on. Usually these test vehicles here are very, very high spec. But here with the adaptive suspension, not only does it fulfill sporty purposes, you also consider how it's not getting super loud, although there was this construction work here. So sporty side definitely did deliver, but also here on the comfort side, yeah, and if you want it even softer, then you would indeed go with a little smaller wheels. 21-inch wheels also have the disadvantage that they sometimes get easily scratched and so on, you know. So I would maybe like 20 as a maximum compromise or something, but yeah, because 21 is definitely super, super large. This is super interesting. Remember, with the i5 M60, our consumption was like 19 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, so a little bit more than 3 miles per kilowatt hour. It was a little bit worse when we had more motorway share. Now actually went to the eDrive 40 pure rear-wheel drive, and we scored some 17 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. That's 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. So clearly better. So 2.5 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometer is better. So yeah, that's, you know, 3/4 of a mile per kilowatt hour better. That means with the all-wheel drive version, a realistic range of 430 kilometers or 250, 270 miles. And here with the rear-wheel drive only version, the eDrive 40, we are at 480 kilometers of realistic range. That's about 300 miles. And it means when you go this eDrive 40, you gain about 50 kilometers or 30 miles of range. That means, and if you also think about the, you know, everyday usage and so on, and that the rear-wheel drive only version is also a lot of fun and way less expensive. If you go for the electric 5 Series, definitely this one here, the eDrive 40, is way to go. So as for styling, I'm definitely here with the base look and not with the M Sport. It also has something definitely here, you know, but I prefer it a little bit less sinister, but a little bit more classy. I think it fits the vehicle a little bit better. Interior, especially the best comfort here with the seats. I think also best in segment if you go with the comfort seats. So also the setup we had with this vehicle here, the Veganza comfort seats. And then also here the vegan steering wheel is also available. They are also pushing forward in that respect. That is also really, you can just applaud them for them actually. Then as for driving, it is so engaging still. And even the rear-wheel drive version, more power than you ever need basically already. Of course the all-wheel drive version is really the performance car. But I think especially if you look at the efficiency factor, if you go for the i5, then this eDrive 40 is way to go because it just gives you this extra mileage, this extra range you might need. In comparison to the Mercedes E-Class or the Mercedes EQE, I feel especially the E-Class has this typical E-Class floaty ride, whereas the 5 Series more goes into the engaging ride. This is like the main difference. Other than that, they are actually in the segment very similar, but then again, exterior, interior, way different. But not in a way of that one is super much better than the other one, more in a way of personal preference a lot actually. The biggest difference indeed is that the BMW here, no matter if combustion engine, plug-in, the mix between all and the i5 is always on the same platform, whereas the Mercedes split in Mercedes E-Class and the EQE, they are also a little bit different to each other once again. Very interesting now to compare, for example, the Mercedes E-Class or if you want to go EV with the EQE.